Okay, so Light versus Shuttle on Salamander. It's one of my new favorite maps. This map is really, really cool. Up here in the top left, in the white color, that is going to be Light, who played a fantastic game versus Sulky, and was able to very well withstand that Mulus pressure coming out from him. Be able to see if he can withstand the pressure coming from Shuttle down here in the bottom left in that lilac purple. So Shuttle, if you guys have been watching the KCM Race Wars, Shuttle is insane. He's so strong right now, and I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, he has been performing amazingly in these Race Wars, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he'll perform in the ASL as well, because he has done just an absolutely fantastic job of just being very consistent in these Race Wars and playing very long, good macro games that may sometimes get a little bit messy. They aren't as perfect as someone like, you know, Flash or Bisu in his prime or anything like that, but they are still very, very beautiful games. And it looks like maybe Shuttle is finally reaching for that greatness that he had in ASL 1, maybe looking to go deep in the ASL 4 as well. So I'm really looking forward to casting more Shuttle games. I think Shuttle is on fire right now. He's so good. I don't know if I'd place him in like top 3 for DOSes yet, but he's still been playing very, very well. I'm still skeptical. So this is going to be a TVP on Salamander. Salamander is a really neat map. This is one of my new favorites. It's kind of become, I think, one of the more favored 4-player maps now that Fighting Spirit is slowly being phased out in professional circles. A lot of professional players don't really like Fighting Spirit as much. They're preferring playing on Circuit Breaker and Salamander and some of these other newer maps. But what makes Salamander really, really interesting is just the fact that there are these couple of inside bases which play a very important role in terms of strategic positioning. Because, for instance, Terran players will want to take that forward base, that inner 6 base. It's only minerals, but you can go ahead and take that on your way up to the Protoss Natural. And as you're going along the way, you can also take either the 6 o'clock or the 9 o'clock base for yourself as well, and start just moving everything in that same sort of line of progression. And that's what's really beautiful about this map is it's very much, I guess, it does also remind me a lot of Lost Temple, where Lost Temple had that small ring of mineral-only expansions on the outside that you could take, as opposed to a further away third base. It's kind of like that. You can go ahead and push up to that, and it's an easy base that's in the line of reinforcements. So if you have a very strong, immobile army, you can go ahead and expand there and move across that. That's something really beautiful you can do. If you have a more mobile army, you can still focus on the outside ring of the map and focus on just defending those with your more mobile units and using drop ships and things like that. So there's lots of really cool stuff that you can actually see here. No expansion yet for Shuttle, so that's something important to consider. I probably missed a really important detail in his base. No, I didn't. Okay, so he's going all the way up to 3 pylons. Going to be going up to the 3 Dragoon pressure, which is going to allow him to put a little bit of pressure out on the front. Unfortunately, he misses the scout coming in, so Light's going to have some free information on his opponent and be able to respond appropriately to whatever might come his way. Sees no expansion, and Light is actually just going to turn back immediately. Okay, now going back in, he's going to see the expansion. No, this isn't too crazy of a build coming out from Shuttle. So we talk about PBT openings. I talked a little bit earlier about what I call the Stork opening, which is Stork goes into he goes into a single Dragoon into a very fast Nexus, doesn't scout until the Dragoon comes out. That's what I call the Stork build. It's very, very greedy. This is on the opposite scale of fast expand builds. You go up to 3 Dragoons, you get the fast Dragoon range, and then you just put on a lot of pressure with a few Dragoons. It's a much safer build. If you're newer to the game, I highly recommend copying this build from this game from Shuttle. It's a very good build. So Light's going to have to pull a couple SCVs off to repair. In case you guys aren't aware, the magical number of SCVs to pull off to repair is the same number as Dragoons. They heal, or they repair at approximately the same rate as Dragoons fire. So if your opponent has like 4 or 5 Dragoons, you pull 4 or 5 SCVs. Very simple. And behind this, actually, very fast armory going up for Light. That's something definitely to note. Looks like he's a little bit worried about Reaver drops coming in. So he's going to go ahead and get up those fast Goliaths to deal with any sort of drop play that might be coming his way. Instead of using the eBay to deal with it, the more immobile defense of missile turrets would be the more mobile defense of those Goliaths. Good wall off so far from Light is going to allow him to be a little bit safe. Siege Round finally finishes. Going to be able to start pushing these Dragoons back. So this is a very nice defense overall from our Terran player, but he did move back at a very interesting timing. Maybe anticipating Shuttle coming in there and trying to snipe it, but a little bit clever seeing that. Fast third base coming out from Shuttle behind this pressure, and we'll have to see if he did go for the Reaver play or if it's just going to be pure gateways. We still haven't seen his tech. Looks like it's just going to be the observers, excuse me. So just going to be lots and lots of observers coming out from Shuttle while he takes control, gets a couple of extra gateways. And this is a little bit dangerous because if your opponent macros very, very well, if your opponent actually went for the fast to fact, you could definitely die to a follow-up slow push timing with a couple of tanks and a couple of like non-stop vultures behind that. It's a very dangerous push that can be very devastating. But in this case, because Light went for that earlier armory, it actually works out very well for Shuttle. Shuttle's going to have a lot of pressure taken off him for quite a while. It's going to be a while before Light actually has a scary army that can move across the map and do a lot of damage. You can tell that Light is sniffing out this observer, kind of saw the shimmer and was expecting to see it maybe in his main base. So, oh, he does actually find it. So he does snipe the first observer. Very well done by Light. Doing a good job of sniping that off. And very fast Citadel of a Dune coming down. We'll see if Shuttle decides to go into the Stargate type follow-up, if he'll go into Arbiters, or if he'll just focus on having that insane gateway unit count that has kind of become, just in general, the new Protoss style. Protoss players recently have been just gunning super heavily for just tons and tons of gateway units in both this matchup and the PvZ matchup. It's kind of really interesting to see how the reliance of tech has kind of shifted away towards just having a lot of units on the ground to run over your opponent. But in any case, Shuttle does have to do a good job of pushing away these vultures before they can get any serious damage done. So far he's done a really good job of actually containing these vultures to the base, so this is a huge win for him. Again, Light has no pressure out on the map, he has no vision out on the map, and Shuttle's able to do exactly what he wants. Up now by 20 supply. This is a pretty significant lead for this point in the game. And it's only going to keep growing bigger as he saturates this third base. Hey, Sir V, this is Shuttle versus Light on Salamander. If you're now just tuning in, this is the 7th match in the KCM Race Wars, and Protoss is 2 wins away from actually securing a lead, so, or securing the win in the series, so just hang tight, we'll get there. So finally, these vultures actually do manage to break out. They're going to be able to start laying mines and be annoying out across the map, but honestly, Shuttle has such a lead that I don't think it really matters to him. He's still going to have to send a couple of Dragoons over here to defend this, because these vultures can eventually break down that wall, but instead they're actually just going to go check for 4th base. Maybe Light a little bit worried that there might be a very early 4th base going up as well, and it looks like it is going to be that mass gateway style coming out from Shuttle, unless I didn't see a Stargate just now, because I was staring at the mini-map. In any case, looks like Light is finally getting his 3rd CC up. He's probably going to want to take that inner base and start pushing towards his opponent. Yeah, it looks like it is going to be that very gateway heavy style with the Templar Archive. It's going to have some Templar out. This is very Stork style as well. Getting the fast Templar allows you to do things like storm drops, allows you to storm on top of tanks in earlier pushes, and find small advantages with small numbers of units, very relatively small investments of those high Templar. The units finally slowly moving out across the map. The spider mines are going to have to blanket that whole side area to the right and make sure that those tanks are going to be in good position. You'll see him take that inside base, just as I explained in the very beginning of the game. There's the Templar, tons and tons of gateways coming down. I think it's a total of 2, 4, 6, 8. So it's like around 10 gateways, which is decent. I would like to see actually a few more go down. Up to 12 to 14 is really the magical number when you start really get moving. But I think at this point, I feel like the Shuttle didn't do a great job of saturating all of his bases, but there's a drop coming into his main. May remind him to rebuild some of those probes. It's going to be a tank and vulture drop, so just a little bit of annoying damage. Laying a couple mines on top of this production, so it's going to be hard to get on top of it, but a whole bunch of zealots just got out. They're going to be able to easily just walk on top of this tank and kill it. Easy peasy, not even a problem for Shuttle at all. And he's going to start moving out across the map yet again. And pressure did almost nothing for a pretty sizable investment. Losing the dropship plus the tank is actually a pretty big deal. So now this army is starting to get up very, very strong, up to 180 supply, 40 supply over the Terran player. This is almost always a winning position for the Protoss player as long as they can get the good engagement, as long as they can prevent a fourth base from going down very easily. But looks like Shuttle's just gonna gun for it and go. He's getting ready for this big attack. The Dragoons are gonna step out in front. The Zealots filtering past gonna try to get on top of this. Here we're gonna have to wait for the big drops, big storm drops on top of all those tanks. Tons and tons of damage. The Zealots getting on top of them as well, coming down in from behind as well, gonna be able to get on top of them. But it looks like this has been held momentarily by light. Still, so much damage done to that tank count has been reset, and behind this, there's going to be more and more units coming out as well. A drop over here, going to start doing some damage, but there is a cannon in the mineral line, might be able to hold this off for now. And maybe the drop will actually come over to the natural base. In any case, another group of Zealots coming in. Gonna try to get on top of these tanks again. This may have been a little bit premature, but he really thinks he can get on top of these tanks and win the game right here, right now. Gonna be able to kill off the rest of the tanks. The tank line is absolutely evaporating. There's nothing left for light. He's gonna try to drop in this natural, but it's already gonna be countered by a couple of units being there. This has been devastating. Third base going down by light. This is really, really rough position to be as a Terran player right now. You're stuck in your natural, you don't have any more tanks, and even if Shuttle doesn't outright win, the re-macro will definitely win the game. More and more Zealots just streaming out across the map. Shuttle floating a little bit of money. He needs to get those extra gateways up, but he is doing a fantastic job of just completely shutting down his opponents. He scouted this base over here. He wants to make sure he doesn't give his opponent any breathing room at all, so he's going to immediately just move over there. But it's kind of a bait. Behind this light is just going to move out with a ton of vultures, try to start laying some mines and preventing the reinforcements from coming in. Meanwhile, the drop pressure is still alive over there, trying to get a couple of kills, but that one cannon just causing all kinds of problems for light. So light coming in here with all of these vultures is going to be able to get any big damage into the natural. We're not seeing, currently we're looking at the main base over there, but there are tons of vultures coming in here trying to get as much damage done as possible. Doesn't look like they were able to do too much damage, even though the Spire Mines did end up cleaning up quite a few gateway units, so this is a decent spot. That was a decent amount of damage done by light, but he's still in a terrible spot. He lost his third base. He still hasn't been able to take that 12 o'clock base, and his tank count was completely reset. Behind this, Shuttle is just macroing insanely. He's got 4 bases up. He could probably take a 5th base as well, but he's been focusing mainly on just making tons and tons of gateway units, trying to max out again. But Light has done a really good job of catching back up in that supply. Now only a 20 supply differential. Maybe that might change with the next round of units from Shuttle. It's possible. But Shuttle does need to start thinking about adding on some of that Stargate tech. Lots of gateway units is great. It works up to a certain point, but you really need to start heading into that late game Stargate tech if you really want to go into the fullest late game that you can. If you weren't going to end the game right there, if you weren't going to camp out your opponent's base and prevent them ever moving out again, you really need to start working on that Stargate tech. Get up some Arbiters, get up that stasis ability so you can actually fight this army head on over and over again and start trading cost efficiently. But he's going to let up a couple more units. It looks like he might try to go for another bust. At this point, though, I think that might be a bit of a mistake. He doesn't quite have the supply lead that he had before. This time, Light has actually caught up. And even though this extra base is coming down for Shuttle, he'll be able to saturate it pretty soon and do a pretty good job, but he's ceded a lot of map control back to Light, and now Light is starting to mine up the map, starting to split it, and doing a really good job of getting back into this game. So we could very much see an even game coming up pretty soon if Shuttle doesn't do something very soon. He's actually going for double upgrades instead of getting that Arbiter tech out. It's a very surprising move for him, but it does allow him to have tons and tons of units coming up a little bit later. Lots of vultures in here, going to be able to kill off a lot of these probes. They could actually potentially kill off all those cannons as well, but playing a little bit safe instead, just going to be putting in much of mines and killing off as many probes as possible. Overall, really good economic damage coming out from Light, but he did sacrifice a lot of vultures for that. He's going to have to rebuild that, and that really made the difference in the supply differential, going to swing back heavily in favor of Shuttle. He's going to be having a very strong army out here in the center of the map. Going to start pushing out and clearing a lot of these mines. And there's a very realistic possibility we can see yet another bust coming out. I think it might be Folly, though. We'll have to see. The storms have to be perfect. They have to be amazing in order for Shuttle to actually break this tank line. Gonna try to move up over this ridge coming over from down behind, while meanwhile moving up on the side, but that is not gonna work. You really need a much better arc than that. Behind this, he has managed to finally secure that 5th base, finally getting the Stargate up, so he's finally going to be going into those Arbiters pretty soon. Honestly, at this point, when you have so many bases, just go double Stargate, get the double Arbiters. And Shuttle, both of these players kind of floating a little bit of money. Shuttle definitely floating a lot more than he should be. Honestly, at this point, Shuttle should be expanding like mad crazy. Even if he's building up a bank, just go ahead and expanding to the inner mineral only base over there. Maybe at both the inner 6 and the inner 3 would be good, but looks like instead he's just going to go for a big attack and rely on that money to remax. A couple of Templars being dropped, going to be able to storm on top of some of those vultures, but it's not quite enough. This is going to be a great storm on top of all those tanks. Another great storm going to be raining down on all those tanks, doing tons and tons of damage. There are a lot of Dragoons, but they're going to have to pull back right now. That was not a very cost-efficient trade for Shuttle, but at the same time, he does have the economy to back it up. He can honestly just go crazy with these trades over and over and over if he wants. Still, oh my gosh, the siege tanks are on siege. Can they actually fight this off? Looks like they will, because there are no Zelts in the composition. They're going to be able to chase this off for now, and this is actually looking really bad for Shuttle. Shuttle, who had almost killed his opponent earlier in the game, is now facing the threat of a mecha army moving out across the map. He needs to really get his supply back up. Where's the gateway count that he needs? If you're going to go for that sort of attack, you need at least 14 plus gateways. You can't rely on just small numbers of gateways like this to reinforce. You need to be able to remax almost instantly. And losing a couple more units, there was a good storm in there, but it's not enough to actually break this tank line. And as long as Light continues to reinforce really well, he's going to be able to actually do a quite good job of actually scarily pushing into this natural base. Looks like that's where he set his sight. He's actually taking that 9 o'clock base right now, so you can tell he's definitely going to be focusing on pushing into this natural, going to ignore the other side of the map. This is the game plan of Light, is to just walk across the map, kill your opponent in his natural, but looks like Shuttle may be ready for it this time around. He's got a couple units coming from the flank. He's got more units reinforcing as well. He might be able to try to break this pretty soon. He's still got plenty of storms, so if the tanks do come up, we could definitely see a couple storms just straight up in the game. Arbiters are finally on the way for Shuttle. Can Shuttle hold on? This is a very dangerous moment for the Protoss player. He's got to play this perfectly, or else he risks losing the game. Here comes the big attack, going to be pushing out across this area. Nope, looks like he turns back, getting cold feet at the last second. Gonna wait till he maxes out. I think that's a very smart idea from Shuttle. Just wait till you max out and just go all in then. There's no reason to go right before you max out. 3-1 upgrades for this Protoss army, and they're going to try to reposition, move out across the... But oh my gosh, 3 of those Templar go down for free. That is devastating for Shuttle right now. He is up against... His back is up against the wall. He's going to have to do a lot of damage, but Light is not really reinforcing as well as he should. I feel like he has a low number of production facilities as well. He really needs to be having a larger number, something like 8+ gateways, or sorry, 8+ factories to reinforce, but there's no units here actually buffering for the Zealots, and they're going to get right on top of the tanks very, very soon. Good storm drop is going to be coming down on top of all those tanks, going to be able to annihilate them, and it looks like Shuttle may have found a weak point in this defense, going to be able to get on top of a lot of these tanks and deal so much damage. And is he going to actually be able to clean this up? I think he is. There aren't a lot of tanks left. There aren't any units reinforcing, and I think Light has actually fallen. Again, Shuttle doing the impossible, finding the perfect angle to actually get in here. But it looks like Light has actually held this push for a moment. The reinforcements are good enough to actually slow this down for long enough to actually retake that base, but Shuttle does have a lot of gateways. Can he remax? I feel like he still doesn't have the production facilities that he needs, and he's floating a lot of minerals. Always floating a lot of minerals, and I'm really concerned about the chances of Shuttle in the rest of this game. He's gotten really far down in supply. He's continuing to pump upgrades, and he's finally got these Arbiters out. With a couple of key stasises, he could definitely still win the game, but I think Light is being a little bit overconfident, pushing out here with a few siege tanks and vultures. This is very overzealous, and he's going to end up getting completely annihilated by the small group of reinforcements over here. That was a very terrible trade for him. He should have just focused on continuing to drill this natural, slowly moving forward, but instead decides to go for that flank over there. Not a good decision from him, and now it's going to be hurting him. Even though he had a very small but definite lead there, it's going to be swinging back in favor of Shuttle. Shuttle is doing a fantastic job of continually remacroing and getting up all these bases. The only thing I wish is that he just had a few more gateways to remax a bit faster, because it feels like his production has been a little bit lacking. He also should be taking more Nexuses for sure. Also scouting up in that top right-hand corner. Amazing that none of the players missed EMP. A little bit brutal feel, but looks like a recall might be coming up in over this right side. First Arbiters are out, finally have some energy to do some stuff, but this is very well prepared for by Light. Light's going to be very well prepared to actually stop this. Is the EMP good? Doesn't look like he has enough energy for the EMP yet. Looks like he's waiting for it. I don't think he's going to have it. I think this is going to be a pure recall straight into this natural base. No energy for the EMP either, so all of these units getting in here right away, going to be able to get on top of this tank and start killing it off immediately. And this is so painful right now. Going to have to send back a ton of units as Light to actually clean this up. And this severely weakens that drill push that he had going on at the National. Going to make him a lot weaker and a lot more susceptible to counterattacks. Meanwhile, Shuttle's found yet another good angle to potentially kill off these units as they're trying to reinforce. It was a good recall overall. It did a lot of damage. And now going to be trying to get in here on top of all of these tanks as well. Units coming in from all angles. The Zealots not microing down here on the bottom are going to die to a lot of spider mines, but oh my gosh, the good stasis is going to be able to eliminate 4 of those tanks from the game. Going to be able to completely destroy the rest of this forest, and even getting a couple of Zealots into that natural, beautiful Zealot bomb on top of all those SCVs. And this is the front broken yet again for Light. Can Light continue to push back though? He's done such a fantastic job of it so far. However, there are units already getting into this 4th base over here, and this is a lifeline for Light. He can't give this up. If he gives this up, this is the end of the game for him. He can't honestly come back into this game because he doesn't have enough money for another CC. He can't take another CC up in that top right. He's so focused on just trying to get this push back up online, and Shuttle is just continuing to remacro over and over and over. He doesn't care. Okay, that's the gateway count I'm looking for. That's the game. That is what I'm looking for. Mrs. here says, Arbiter game changer. Absolutely, this is a game changer. The Arbiter has completely swung the game around from something that looked a little bit dangerous from Shuttle is something that continues to look better and better for him. And as long as he can continue to hit those good stasises and hit really nice recalls, he'll be in a fantastic position to win this. But he needs to make sure that he's not leaving huge parts of the map open like he is right now. This fourth base could potentially die for him. Sorry, fifth base could potentially die for him. He's going to try to run out with a couple of units. He does have a couple of storms, which is going to allow him to defend for a little while. Honestly, I would have left those High Templar on the high ground. But in any case, it doesn't matter because this army has become an island and they are stuck out here all by themselves. There is nothing that is going to come for them. They are alone. There are no reinforcements. Units coming in from both sides going to get right on top of these tanks, deal so much damage, and that is going to be the rest of Light's army falling. Light now below 100 supply and with very, very little mining left out on the map. This is painful to watch. Didn't quite get the probe damage done that he needed to do as well. If those vultures had just run in there and suicided on top of all of those probes, he might be in a little bit of a better position. In any case, he has found himself in a position where he's under 100 supply, can't re-macro, he's out of money. He's trying to reestablish this 9 o'clock base, but he's lost quite a bit in the process. He can't even really take one of the top right bases because he's in a poor position. And he isn't even going to try to take the 9 o'clock bases. He knows that his chances in this game are too dependent on being able to mine from a base, and trying to take that 9 o'clock base without any sort of way to back it up would just be absolutely suicide. So he's going to try to relocate it up to the top right, but it's going to take way too long for that CC to get there, and in the meantime, his economy is completely gimped right now. The minerals at that inner 9 starting to run dry, also up at the 12 as well, so White is definitely on a clock. He has to make something happen in the next minute or two, or else Shuttle is just going to overwhelm him with the economy. Although Shuttle himself is also starting to run dry. 3 of his bases have gone down, and his last 2 bases are running fairly low in minerals. He really needs to go ahead and at least start taking those inside bases, or at least just taking one of the corner bases. It's a bit surprising that he hasn't gone for anything of the sort yet. He's just been focused on macroing heavily off those 5 bases, and it's working out for him, but as you can see, he always has an extra bit of minerals left over that he could be spending elsewhere. And that's the one problem that I have, is just, at this point as a Protoss player, you really should be expanding like crazy. Light finally taking control of the middle of the map again and trying to split it. We've kind of put ourselves in sort of a low econ situation, but it doesn't even matter for Shuttle. He's going to go back in for another recall. No defenses here at all. Light has completely abandoned his main base, and double recall in main is basically going to be the end of the game. He's going to go for a desperation attack over here, realizing that a lot of Shuttle's army could be in that main. But I think Shuttle only did 1 recall. He actually saved the 2nd recall, and as a result, he's actually going to have some units to actually deal with this. But he needs to mass them up pretty quickly and make sure he gets them over there. Another desperation attack to this bottom right-hand corner, but Shuttle's actually going to be going on the counteroffensive, hoping that his reinforcements and storms will be able to actually hold this off. Units coming out right now, going to be able to get some good storms off so far, but the EMP does hit those High Templar. They're going to be going down right now. This is crazy right now. This has become a full-on base race. Both players killing the remaining mining bases of their opponents. Light did grab that inner 12 though, so he does have a little bit of extra mining, but he doesn't have anything to build right now. He can't build anything because all of his units coming out of those factories, which are currently lifted up into the sky, it's going to be a while before he can actually do anything with them. And even though there are units up here under the high ground, there's nothing left for Light. Light just desperately trying to make something happen, but he can't make anything else, and behind this Shuttle just remacroing in his main, he's going to be in a fine spot. Even if he uses all the rest of his money, he's going to be in a fantastic spot to take this game pretty soon. It would start to lose this base, but it's not the end of the world for Shuttle. The more important thing is just eliminating the remaining mining bases of Light, as well as killing off all these factories, and he'll be in a fantastic spot. Units just flying everywhere all across the map. No idea what should be happening right now, but good storms coming down, going to clean up the rest of this force. And there's the GG. Shuttle playing a long and arduous PvP, but eventually coming out on top.